Hey everyone! Before we get started today, I just wanted to share a few things that I have going on with you. First, you may have seen on my socials, but I am hosting an all-women's hike in the Grand Canyon. We will hike rim to rim to rim in October of 2025. If this is something that has been on your bucket list, or if you are looking for both a physical and mental challenge and you want to do it with some badass women, then head over to my website, dreamajwalton.com, and find out more information there. The second thing that I'm working on is the 3rd annual trail running camp for kids. If you know of any kids that would like to attend a 3-day camp here in Colorado Springs with some amazing coaches, or if you would like to volunteer, then you can head over to cotrailrun.com and find out more information there. You can also donate to the camp through my nonprofit organization, dreamateamway.org. When doing so, just make a note that you're donating to the trail running camp. And the last thing is this podcast. I'm super grateful that you're all enjoying it. I'm having so much fun making it. If you want to help out, the biggest thing you could do is to share it with others. You could also leave a review on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever else you're listening from. And if you'd like to leave a donation, you can do so at dreamateamway.org. Just be sure to make a note that you're leaving it for the podcast. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you again for being part of the Beyond the Trail podcast community. And now, enjoy the episode. Hey, good morning. Welcome to Beyond the Trail podcast. I'm your host, Dreama Walton, and today I have with me my friend Danny Dunlap.
Hello.
We are at the Heil Valley Ranch Trail. I've only been here one time, so Danny's going to show us around.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite areas.
Awesome.
Ready?
Okay, yep. So, Danny, thanks for being on my pod, finally.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've tried once before.
Yeah.
It got too cold on the incline though.
Yeah, that's right. So Danny lives here in Longmont. Are we going up?
Left, yep.
Okay.
That's for bikes.
Longmont, Colorado. And something I think is super cool about Danny is that he's a farmer. And I don't know about you guys, but it seems like these days we don't know many farmers. So
yeah, it's important to know your farmer too.
For sure.
I think, at least.
Yeah.
Might be biased being a farmer, but
Yeah. How long have you been farming?
I started volunteering when I was 18. Moved out to Colorado. I gotta walk. I'm getting out of breath running.
Okay.
So I started volunteering when I was 18, and then moved out to Colorado. So we have like a vibrant farm community here. Went to a farm-to-table culinary school. Took a couple side routes through different jobs, and then started working for my first farm 2016. Worked for that farm for 3 years, and then started my farm in 2019. So, yeah.
That's amazing. So, what made you want to be a farmer?
I could answer a lot of different reasons. The main one, I was disconnected from my food growing up, and once I was 18 and moved out of my parents' house, had to start cooking for myself. I started looking into it more, and yeah, the different ways that a vegetable farm can be run, a livestock farm can be run. There's a million ways, and I'm pretty particular with how I want my stuff raised. So really it started that I wanted to raise my own food. And then once I was doing that, it's like, well, might as well start raising it for my community as well. So, yeah.
What matters most to you?
Treating the land with respect. So, land and animals. So farming with regenerative practices that are inherently good for the land, and not degenerative practices that are taking away, and not even just sustainable where it's kind of like maintaining the status quo.
Yeah.
We really aim to be regenerative with it.
So in what ways? Like, what does that look like?
The most basic way I can describe regenerative agriculture is using animals. So in a typical system, we'll use cows because that's the most common thing people have a connection to.
Okay.
In a typical system, cows are turned out onto hundreds of acres of land and pastured that way. That's your typical grass-fed cow.
Okay.
A regenerative beef operation separates that, say, 200 acres into a bunch of 30-acre parcels, and they move their animals around. And what you're doing with that is you graze the grass. The grass sheds some of its roots, and that stores carbon in the soil. So you're utilizing photosynthesis, pulling CO2 out of the air, turning it into carbon in the soil, storing it there for long term, and then you move the cows off so that the grass can heal, and then that carbon's there forever. And it's been shown that that can totally offset all the other carbon costs associated with cattle farming. So yeah, that's the best example.
But you don't have cattle, so does it apply?
It applies to other animals as well, yeah.
Okay.
Just on a smaller scale. Yeah, so it's just that general concept of moving the animals often and in small spaces.
Okay. Almost fell. You didn't grow up with farmers, but...
Nope, not at all.
You're the first?
Grew up fishing and hunting.
Okay.
So that was some connection.
Yeah.
And I knew I liked that those animals came from the wild.
Yeah.
So.
We fished too when I was young.
Nice. Deep sea stuff or?
No, both freshwater and saltwater.
Nice. I did mostly saltwater.
Yeah. We did, like in Ocala, there's a lot of fresh water.
Yeah, lots of lakes. I lived on a lake in Winter Park, but never really fished.
Yeah, we did bass and catfish.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love catfish.
My grandpa, he loved catfish.
Me and my dad used to go to a place in Apopka. It's still there. It's called the Catfish Place. And they had the Florida cracker meal. And it was fried frog legs, fried catfish, and fried gator tail, all on one plate with like coleslaw and potato salad. That's a Florida meal right there.
True. Tell me about your farm.
Yeah, so we're a small livestock farm, small multi-species livestock farm. So we do pigs, chickens for meat, chickens for eggs, ducks for meat, ducks for eggs, Thanksgiving turkey. We make soap, and next year we'll do farm dinners. That's kind of mostly what we do, and we move those animals along every day, and lots of property upkeep, lots of vehicle maintenance. That's just farming on a smaller scale, but
Yeah.
it's just two of us, so it works. You know, we're still in expansion mode, so eventually we'll probably have pasture-raised lambs, or potentially a small herd of cattle, like just 4 to 5. But we need to get into more of a ruminant that's a grass eater.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
The pigs just don't go through it quick enough.
Okay.
They're not technically a ruminant, but I spent a long time researching breeds, and the breed we raise, American guinea hogs, it's like the classic homestead pig from the 1800s.
Oh, cool.
Like every family used to have them.
Gotcha.
That breed eats grass more like a sheep. Then most pigs will dig into the grass. It's called rooting.
Okay.
Really root up an area.
Yeah.
And it destroys the pasture. So it's not regenerative. We're going left here.
Okay.
It's degenerative. So yeah, we're not. I want to raise pigs, but I want it to be in a way that's good for the land.
Yeah.
This is the only breed I found that can do it.
Wow. This is so pretty.
Yeah. It's a good reminder running through here. I don't know. The powerful destruction wildfires can have.
For sure.
Because this should be all woods. I think this fire was about 20 years ago.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That long?
Yep.
Wow.
And then we'll actually run through another burn scar later. That one threatened my farm. We had to evacuate from it.
Dang.
So that was pretty scary.
That is scary.
There have been a total of 3 fires in this area in the past 21 years. The first one was the Overland Fire in 2003. The second was a bit east of the Heil Valley Ranch called Elk Mount in 2006. And the most recent and the largest of the 3 was the Cow Wood Fire in 2020.
Is farming, like, is it a hard life?
It can be, for sure. Parts of the year are really tough. When piglets are being born specifically, we do 10 supervised feedings a day. So it's like every couple hours I'm out with them through the night.
Really?
Yeah,
Why?
so that part's tough for sure.
Why do you have to do that?
So in a commercial pig place, they hold the moms down after they've given birth. The moms only get to stand for a couple hours a day to eat and drink. And then the rest of the time they're pinned down so that the babies aren't at risk of being rolled on. I find that kind of cruel to the mom. So to prevent our piglets from getting rolled on and crushed, we do supervised feedings.
Dang.
And then they're in a safety box right next to the mom. So the mom can see them, she can smell them, she just can't roll over on them.
Wow.
So it's a lot more work on us, but it's a lot more ethical in my opinion.
Yeah, I didn't even know that like people.
Yeah, commercial hog farming is no good.
Brutal.
If you eat pork, you should really be eating something pastured or something that's raised outdoors. Yeah, the hog houses are pretty gross.
What would you want people to know about, like, where they get their meat?
Just do your best. Probably most Americans, at least. I imagine most of your audience is Americans. Most Americans could probably do with eating less meat. I have unlimited meat. I have so much in my freezer, and I eat it once a day max. But usually I have a day or two a week that's vegetarian.
Okay.
So, there's a stark price difference between the type of meat I raise and a commercially raised cut of pork. So not everyone can afford it.
Yeah.
And we're trying not to price people out but I also need to make money. We put a lot more work into it than a commercial system. It's a lot better for the land. So if you can support it, then please do. But if you can't and you're in a financially tight system, maybe try and cut back a little on the commercial stuff. Maybe once a month, try and substitute a pasture-raised variety in there. But yeah, really all you can do is your best. Like it raises your food cost a lot.
For sure.
But Americans also spend a lot less money on their food in terms of like their overall expenditure than most other places in the world. Most of the rest of the world is willing to invest in their food a little bit more. There's the popular saying in organic and regenerative, it's either you pay the higher price now or you pay the higher price years down the road.
Yeah.
When you're going to the doctor for chronic issues.
For sure.
That could have been prevented with a better diet.
I wholeheartedly believe that. If you pay attention to what you're putting into your body and exercise regularly, I think you can.
Yeah, but it's also so easy to get into like a mental spiral of, well, not doing this right, so can't do this right. And
right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I like Annalise's tagline from the documentary about our farm that Chad made. The last line of the movie is just do your best. Like, do something, do your best. And that's really all you can do.
For sure.
So,
yeah, because
just keeping that in mind, being kind to yourself and just always striving to do your best.
Because it can feel like you're not doing enough or.
Yeah, and I think that's at every level of person, like from the people that actually aren't doing enough to people that are doing pretty well, but anyone can get in that negative self-talk and it just sucks.
I know. Sometimes
I do it a lot. And
I feel guilty going to the grocery store.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know. It seems like it's unavoidable.
Yeah. No, it really is.
I did enjoy getting my food from the CSA this year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I love CSAs.
Can you describe what they are?
Yeah.
Because I didn't really know what they were.
Yeah, so CSA stands for Consumer Supported Agriculture. There are meat CSAs popping up now, but traditionally it's with a vegetable farm. And what you do as a consumer, you pay what feels like a ton of money up front at the beginning of the season, and it is, but it ends up getting you a discount over the course of the season. And you're paying a farmer so that they have money for seeds, for water, for everything that they need to get going before they actually have a crop to turn over for cash. So you're giving them the money up front with the understanding that you'll get vegetables in a month or so.
Yeah.
And another part of it that a lot of people don't understand is it's actually a way to risk share with the farmer. So if the farmer has something catastrophic happen to one of his crops, you might not get lettuce that week, but they'll hook you up with some extra kale or Swiss chard, or it's a way for them to kind of mitigate their losses.
For sure.
Because when you're a small farmer, you don't qualify for crop insurance, and that's...
Oh, is that true?
Yeah. The USDA wants to deal with the big guys, not the small guys. Yeah, and it's a cool way to get vegetables that you never would have bought before. And then you gotta Google and find new recipes, figure out how to cook it, if you enjoy that kind of thing.
For sure. You mentioned the USDA. What role does the government play in small farms? And
not as big as in the bigger farms. But we get our animals processed at a USDA facility, so I have to drive them there for them to be packaged for sale, and that allows me to sell at farmers markets and to restaurants and stuff like that. You can do on-farm processing and sell just direct to consumer. That's a much more difficult route to go. So we're going more of the volume route and USDA certified, but they don't come out to the farm or anything. They're just certifying the animals as they come in through the processor, making sure they're healthy at that point.
Like if they had worms or something, they would.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure what would qualify for an animal being condemned. I don't think it will ever happen to us.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm not even really sure.
Okay.
But for chickens, I used to work for a place where we'd go to a USDA chicken processor, and those can get condemned for all kinds of things.
Really?
They have a lesion that the USDA person can't identify. They have like bruising, which can be fairly common. They're packed into a small crate before they're sent there. And they'll just take them off the line and toss them into the condemnation bin. And I believe all that goes to like dog food at that point.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like they're just throwing it away, but it's not fit for human consumption.
Gotcha. I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think that like the U.S. could feed the masses or feed our population with small farms?
So that's a tricky question.
Yeah, it might be kind of
like
loaded.
in theory, yes. In theory, yes, I totally believe that we could. But the issue is we would need a lot more farmers, a lot more people than are interested in it currently.
But if the government helped, I feel like if the government helped support
they won't.
small farming, then more people would be interested in it.
Yeah. So yeah, totally. I agree with that. But that's a really tough battle. Since the 50s, the U.S.'s policy on agriculture has been get bigger, get out. So they really only want to help and subsidize the bigger guys.
It seems so backwards to me.
It seems backwards to me too. I mean, my dream for the country is what it kind of was back in the day, where every household kind of raised some of their own food.
Right.
At the very least, you had an herb garden. But it's just the way Americans view food has changed so drastically since the 50s that I don't think on a countrywide scale it's ever going to get back to that. We're always going to need cheaper stuff. I could see eventually the lab-grown meat taking over a commercially raised product, but since our product is more of a specialty product, there's always going to be a market for that too. So yeah, I don't know.
What is wrong with the American food industry that, like, you say we'll never get back there because
it's just it's so ingrained in our culture. Yeah, fast food, ultra processed stuff. I mean, it's ingrained in every culture nowadays, but feels like more so here. Like, I don't know, besides my farming friends and you, I don't know very many people that cook the majority of their meals. Like, it's either going out to eat, going to fast food, frozen meals.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, people don't.
That's so sad.
It is, but there's always going to be people that appreciate it, and
for sure,
like-minded people come together. So,
but I feel like there's such a disconnect, kind of like what you talked about earlier with your food.
Yeah, and I mean, I have since I've been interested in it, which is 2012. So in 12 years, I see more and more people get interested in it every year.
Are we going that way?
Yes, we're gonna just kind of make a U-turn here.
Heil Valley Ranch is located in Boulder County, Colorado. It once belonged to the Heil family. They purchased it in 1949 and used it as a working ranch for cattle and horses. It wasn't until the 1990s that Boulder County began acquiring parts of the ranch to create the Heil Valley Ranch open space. There are also archaeological findings that indicate that there were at least 4 Native American camps in the area before the Anglo settlement.
Very cool. So Danny, do you think that the government like acknowledges the importance of like small farming, or?
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of grants and stuff out there, but I don't think they'll ever come out and like take the standpoint like small American farms need to come back.
Interesting.
I mean, I guess they could say that, but I just don't know how they would help do it. Because really, I think it's mostly that to get that many people interested in raising their food that's the hard part, is finding the farmers that would do this. So we're already in a shortage of farmers as it is.
Yeah, but don't you feel like we're in a shortage because they're not being supported?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, well, yeah. We're in a shortage because the older generation is retiring and there aren't enough younger people coming in to replace them. And that is because most of the farmers' kids watch their parents struggle growing up, and they don't want to take over the family farm.
Right. They don't want to like be scraping to get by.
Yeah.
When they could go get a tech job.
Yeah. Which, I mean, you know, it's not a magical fix being a small farm. Like, we're still in the building phase, and like not making a ton of money at all, but it's something we love doing.
Right.
And I think that's how it goes for the older generation too. It's just something you get into farming because you love it.
Yeah.
Not because you're trying to get rich.
But I feel like if there were more support, it could be sustainable. More sustainable.
Yeah.
And encouraged.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very complex topic. Because, I mean, they do a little.
Do they?
Like, there's federal grants that we've applied to and gotten. There's federal programs that we qualify for. So it's not like the help isn't out there for the small guys.
Okay, good.
So it is, yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
When I said, so crop insurance and subsidies, that's a whole different ball game. But also, I don't know, not that important to me personally. I don't want to be subsidized. If I can't figure out how to make money myself, then it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like handouts, really. It took me a while to even get comfortable with the idea of grants. And that, oh, you're just going to give me money? And I just have to show that I did with the money what I said I was going to do? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a little weird, but
yeah.
I'm behind it now because it's awesome.
I feel like I just see this linkage between fast food restaurants and large scale, like monocrop farms. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just
I mean,
like,
we would never be able to supply the amount of stuff that they need.
Right.
And they need it to be all homogeneous and look the same, and it's just not something I can do as a small guy.
Right.
That's probably part of the reason those big farms aren't going anywhere anytime soon. So I don't think the fast food is either.
Totally. Then you have the linkage between fast food and health issues.
Yeah.
Because like you said earlier, like a disconnection with the way food is supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
But I'm proud of you guys for trying your best to make a difference.
Yeah.
Like in your lives and in your community.
Yeah. And the unfortunate thing is, if years down the road, if the farm isn't working out, we'll have to stop raising that product for the community, but we're always going to do it for ourselves.
Gotcha.
So it'd be a letdown. We like being part of our community and getting good food out to it.
So how did you get into ultra running? As a Florida boy, transplant to Colorado and farming.
It's a pretty long process for me to come to ultra running. So I learned about it when I was maybe 13 or 14. And I read Dean Carnegie's book.
Okay.
And then I read all of his books. And I fell in love with this idea of crazy stuff that not that many people can do.
Right.
Ran a lot as a kid. I played lacrosse, midfielder. So I was doing a lot of running as a teenager, including training runs, like 5-mile training runs a couple times a week.
Nice.
Then I moved to Colorado, rediscovered trail running. Still kind of had forgotten what ultra running was. And then the first year I lived in Colorado was when Chef Kelly started Rad Boulder. And that's when she was telling us about these 100-mile athletes that live in Boulder that she's starting to feed and get good nutrition to, and how important nutrition is to everything they're doing. And so then it's like, oh wow, there's a lot of them around me. So I started following a bunch of people. We're gonna take a right, actually. So I started following a bunch of people on Instagram, reading about these crazy races like Leadville and Western States. And then I don't know exactly what made me sign up for my first race, but I think it might have had something to do with Chad filming your documentary.
Cool.
Chad Weber filmed Dream a Team. He also filmed a documentary about my farm called Bluebird Sky, and me and my wife became friends with him through that. And we would meet up occasionally, and we were on the film circuit going to different festivals. And he was telling us about this new documentary about this crazy lady from Colorado Springs running one of the hardest 100-mile races in the US. And then we ended up meeting through that. I think I signed up for my race before we ever met.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, you did.
But I think it was while he was filming it was when I was like, well, I got to do this. It's now or never.
Yeah. I remember kind of cheering you on without actually knowing you.
Yeah, we had just met for dinner that one time. But yeah, that was cool. That was only almost a year ago to the day. I think it was October 21st, 2023 was my first ultra.
Really? Mm-hmm. So you went from 100K to a 100-miler.
Yeah, in a year. Yep. Yeah, and then 2024, I think I did 2 non-race 50Ks, 150K, DNF to 50-miler, DNF to 100K, and then finished Run Rabbit Run 100-miler. Yeah, so that was good after 2 DNFs.
For sure. You kind of need that.
Yeah.
To
I'm definitely going back to Never Summer this year, and that was such a cool course.
I'll go back with you.
Nice. Yeah, let's do it. I got to see the last 10 miles.
Yeah. You're doing it all.
Yeah, trying. Yeah, I definitely want to do Never Summer next year. And I don't really know what else I'm going to do, but I know I want to get into volunteering, and I want to pace one of my friends in something.
Cool.
So those are my 2 big goals. And then if I get the miracle ticket, then I'll do Western States.
Are you putting in?
Yep, but I only have 2 tickets, so
Nice.
it's not like I have very good odds.
Hey, I got in with 2 tickets.
Yeah, and people have gotten in with 1, so.
Yep.
Hey.
I have 4 this year. I have 4 this year.
Nice. You putting in again?
Yeah.
Nice.
Done. I did it yesterday.
Yeah. And then Javelina looked like so much fun again that I might have to put that on my list.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not a great time of year for me, but I think I can make it work.
Are there any correlations between farming and ultra running?
Time on feet.
Yeah.
That definitely helped me when I started ultras, as I'm already used to being on my feet for 12 to 14 hours a day. Takes a lot of grit to do both. I think ultra running requires more mental toughness, but farming requires some too.
What's some of your hardest days on the farm?
I've had a couple of unexpected losses over the years. Unexpected losses of breeding pigs. And those ones have names and they're more like pets.
Aw.
So that's always really hard. Sometimes the more humane thing is to put an animal that's severely injured down. That's always really hard.
Yeah.
Anytime you have to kill an animal, when we butcher all the chickens on farm, that's a tough day.
Had you ever done that before? Before farming?
I did in culinary school for the first time.
Oh, okay.
So I've been doing it for 10 years now.
I didn't realize they taught you that in school.
It wasn't through school. It was our final project. So we had to do a banquet dinner.
Okay.
And I had chicken and rabbit on my menu. And I reached out to a farmer and he offered to show me how to do it. I went out and learned from him and then cooked those for graduation.
I have memories of being a child. My grandpa would cut the heads off and they would run around.
Oh yeah, yep. So they're dead at that point. There's a lot of energy in the body still.
That's crazy.
Needs to get out. There is, it's got a funny name. There is a chicken that survived headless for like 6 months or something.
Yeah.
They fed it with a dropper.
Chad told me about it.
Yeah.
We went to the town.
Crazy story. I gotta guess there. Midwest somewhere.
No, here.
Oh, Colorado. It's in Colorado?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh, his name's just Mike. Mike the Headless Rooster.
But the town is over by the Colorado Monument National Park.
Oh, okay. Nice. I didn't even know it was in Colorado.
Yeah.
I'll have to go visit.
They have a statue of them.
Nice. That's awesome.
So wide open.
Yep. That's wildfires for you. So this burn scar up to our right, that's the one that we had to evacuate for.
Wow.
It's the something peak fire. But yeah, that was no good. Grew to a couple hundred acres. And our farm's only 5 miles down the road over that ridge.
Yeah. I bet that was scary.
Oh, it was super scary, yeah.
Where did you go?
We evacuated to another friend's farm, so brought all the animals there.
Oh, okay.
Luckily, 5 or 6 of our friends just showed up without us asking with extra trucks and stuff, and so we were able to get everything out. And then got the all clear like 12 hours later that we could come back.
Cool.
But you gotta do it because wildfires move so fast.
For sure.
They can do like, I think 15 miles an hour. So if it really started moving, could have been to the farm in like 20 minutes.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna take a right here. This is a
crazy.
hike, little hike section up to a quarry.
Was that your only wildfire scare?
No, we had one even closer.
What?
Yeah, right by those satellites.
Yeah.
There's researchers flying a drone and it crashed. Lithium-ion battery got punctured. Started a fire that grew to like 15 acres in like 10 minutes.
Oh my God.
And
That is
luckily
so close.
the fire department was like on top of it and stopped it. But that was like decide what's most important and get out.
Yeah, you farmers, you definitely don't have it easy.
Nope, but we love it, so wouldn't trade it for anything.
Good.
The Calwood fire that started in October of 2020 burned 5,000 acres in just 5 hours. When it was over, it burned over 10,000 acres. 6,000 of those acres being in the parks and open space property. The Calwood fire damaged 26 structures and cost an estimated of $6.6 million to fight. As part of the mitigation efforts, foresters added 1,800 acres of mulch. They added structures to help minimize drainage flow, as well as thinned out some of the areas where there was tree survival to help with the regrowth process.
Yeah, and this is where that fire got really bad.
Yeah,
This whole neighborhood was lost. And
Look, they're rebuilding.
it's being rebuilt, yep. So me and Annalise, we were sitting on our balcony in the middle of the night as it was going on. And you could just see fireballs happen, and you just knew that that was a house going up. Everyone, no loss of life in that fire, just lots of structure loss.
So why don't you tell me how you and Annalise met? Annalise is your wife.
Yep, we met through farming. We're both farmers. We're both members of a local organization called Flatirons Farmers Coalition, formerly known as Flatirons Young Farmers Coalition. So it was a way for young farmers and the interns of farmers to all meet. So she was interning for a place. I had just quit my job as the livestock manager of another farm. So I was friends with her boss, basically, and sat down at a table with him, and he introduced me to two of their interns for the year. Annalise was one of them. We're both kind of antisocial, so neither of us left that table the whole night. Didn't socialize with anyone else. And then a month later, we saw each other at another farm event, and I was talking to some of the older farmers around Boulder. She's like, who is this guy that knows the young guys and the old guys around here? So she came over and talked with me, heard that I was starting my own farm, sent me a message on Facebook to talk about that. We met up to talk about that. I was under the impression it was a date. She was not, but we ended up going on a real date a week later. So
I love that story.
And then the rest is history from there.
Where's Annalise from?
She's from Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
Yep.
When did she move here?
2019. So she had been living here for about a week before we met.
Cool. Okay.
So we met really early on. Yeah, funny part of us meeting so quickly into her living here, one of the main reasons she moved from where she was in Alabama, she was going on a lot of dates, couldn't find anyone that she like meshed well with.
Yeah.
And then I was the first person she dated out here. So
Cool.
her plan worked.
Yeah. So Danny, what are some of your long-term goals with life and farming and?
Oh man. I'd like the farm to be successful and be able to pay for our life. No, it's not doing that currently, but it'd be cool to have Annalise back on the farm full time. And
Because right now she's working.
yeah, she works as a Montessori teacher.
Okay. So, Danny, if you could give advice to somebody who is interested in farming but doesn't really know where to start, like what could you offer them?
Say starting small, just dipping your toes in. You can reach out to farms that you already know of or farmers that you respect and offer to volunteer for them. Most farmers are more than willing to have you out and show you what's going on, especially if you make yourself useful while you're there. So that's a good way of dipping your toes in. And then there's lots of summer internships. So say you're in college, tons of vegetable farms. That's their peak production season, at least around where we are in Colorado. Most farms have part-time jobs, full-time jobs, or internships available. That's another good way to start learning. But if you go the route of an internship, make sure it's a farm that is trying to incubate new farmers and not just looking for cheap labor. Here, so we'll pause here.
Okay.
So this way goes to Wapiti Trail, and that's what goes out to Lions.
Okay.
So that's and it leads to a couple other loops, which is nice.
Okay.
But then this is the finish of our loop.
Okay,
so we're gonna go this way.
Cool.
But that's the way we would have gone if we were doing the whole route that I had planned. Those are my two best pieces of advice.
Volunteering.
And then doing some stuff, we talked about this a little earlier, but doing just a little bit yourself and getting into raising your own food. So that could be as simple as an herb garden in a window planter box.
Okay.
Or if you have a balcony, you can even get into tomatoes and lettuces, starting small like that. If you have any sort of yard at all, you can even technically raise meat chickens or meat rabbits. That's getting a little bit further in there. But yeah, starting small and just learning and growing. There's so many resources online, so many farms on Instagram, YouTube. I learned a ton on YouTube when I was starting out gardening. Same with raising livestock. There's all kinds of information on YouTube, books. Reddit is actually a great resource for learning how to become more self-sustainable with your food. Yeah.
Man, you're inspiring me to maybe get meat chickens.
Yeah. I mean, you have the space.
Would I also get them as babies or?
Yep, you get them as day olds,
Okay.
but you only have them they grow a lot quicker, so 8 to 12 weeks, 2 to 3 months.
How soon could, I move them outside to the coop?
3.5, 4 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, and then, me or Annalise would come down and show you how to do it.
Show me how to harvest?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say.
We do it a bit differently than your grandparents did.
Okay. Because that was brutal.
Yeah, like I said, it still doesn't feel good, but it's a temporary feeling. And then every time you pull one of those chickens out of the freezer, you know it was raised with care.
Right.
It's gonna be
So do you
delicious.
harvest them all at the same time and then freeze them?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. I think I might want to do that.
Yeah?
Because,
Yeah, just start with a few and see kind of what the coop can handle. Because the one risk is that your older chickens, when you put a real little baby in there, might be kind of mean to them.
Aww.
Forgot gotta take a picture before we finish.
What?
I gotta take a picture before we finish.
Yeah, for sure. Do it again.
Yeah, minus. Nice.
Thank you for sharing these trails with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely good training ground.
You can keep coming. This is your guys' trails. Here specifically, I try and get out of bikers' ways since they maintain the trails. I mean, really, I kind of always try and get out of their way. It's a whole lot easier.
Especially if they're going uphill.
Yeah, it's a whole lot easier for us to just step off.
Totally. What's one thing that you want people to know about the farming industry that maybe we don't think about?
So even though we've been talking about this kind of divide between commercial and small farmers,
Yeah.
you know, we're all in it together as less than 1% of the population, raising food for the other 99% of the population.
Wow.
So that's just like a staggering stat. So just appreciating farmers, like getting rid of the dumb farmer stereotype, which I don't think is around that much anymore, but certainly was for a long time. And yeah, a lot of smart farmers are some of the smartest and most business savvy people I know.
Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe there was that stereotype, but
yeah, it definitely existed for a time. I don't know if it does anymore. Like Farmer Fran from Waterboy, and like that Waterboy in general. Just like in pop culture, I guess. Farmers are portrayed as like this, I don't know.
Hillbilly.
Yeah, hillbilly, lazy, not hard worker. It's like that.
Which is like
that couldn't be further from the truth.
Further.
Yeah.
Yeah. My first job ever was working for a farmer.
You can keep coming.
His name was Mr. Perry with Perry Farms in Pedro, Florida. And his knowledge of the land, like the science behind having healthy crops and knowing what could be planted in which field, that to me was really impressive, you know?
Yeah.
Knowing like when the soil needed rest or a different crop even.
It's an art form almost.
Yeah.
It's like you gotta be an artist, a biologist, a veterinarian. There's
scientist.
Yeah, scientists. We hold all kinds of roles. I think farmers must have been what that phrase, jack of all trades but master of none.
Yeah.
Where that came from. I'm pretty good at all kinds of things, but I would not say I'm really a master at like anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I think something I'm also interested in is soil health. I mean, what could you tell us about that? Because I know it's important. Like,
yeah, so I mean, one of the things that we like to say is that we're soil farmers first and foremost. So everything we do with the animals on our land, we're thinking about the soil first. So the main things the plants are looking for is nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium.
Okay.
So those are your major nutrients that any plant is gonna pull from to feed itself. Those you can get in the ground through animal manure. So that's how we fertilize, is through the manure.
Okay.
And then the carbon in the soil is just our like long-term goal of pulling, because we have too much CO2 emissions right now in the air. So it's our long-term goal of pulling CO2 out of the air and storing it in the soil. And on a massive scale, it's gonna have a really big effect on total CO2 levels. And there's positive effect,
okay.
Yep. There'd be less CO2.
In the air.
Yes. Yep.
And more nutrients in the soil.
Yep.
Okay. And then that gets transferred to the plants and the crops.
Yep, and then they grow healthier, and then you bring the animals back across and they fertilize it again. And you just do that over and over, and it gets better and better. And the other element is that soil is alive. So there's millions and billions, trillions of microorganisms living in the soil that, we don't understand everything about them, but we do understand the more living your soil is, the healthier your plants typically are.
And then the healthier we are because we're ingesting them.
Yep. Yeah, so there's definite differences in nutrient density with produce that's been grown in living soil versus stuff that's tilled and sprayed every year, so there's nothing living in it.
What about like hydroponics or?
I'm not against it.
Yeah.
I personally prefer stuff from the soil, but I really like aquaponics where you're raising fish with them. Okay. So then the fish manure is what is then feeding the plants. Because in typical hydroponics, you're buying jugs of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium and mixing that into your water so the plants can feed. Yeah, and it comes from natural sources, but it's a process thing versus when you do aquaponics, it's the fish manure. Cool. And then you end up with catfish or crawfish or tilapia. Cool. There's all these different breeds you can raise in them.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, so
that's super cool.
About half of Heil Valley.
Cool. Yeah, we did 8 miles. Danny, I'm so happy I finally got you on the pod.
Yeah.
Thank you for being a part of it.
Absolutely. That was awesome.
I feel like there's so much more we could talk about regarding farming and...
Yeah. We talked nonstop for 7 hours.
Yeah.
At Run Rabbit.
I know.
We hit pretty much every topic imaginable, I think.
I should have had the camera out then.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a cool one to run a race at some point with the sole goal, don't do it for time or anything. Just interview little 5-minute sections with people.
Yeah.
Got a bunch of people
run
in
up,
one race.
or find a group and just start chatting.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
Maybe I should do that.
Yeah.
It's a great idea. All right, well, thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope you're enjoying these podcasts. They are not easy to coordinate and not easy to edit because it's really time consuming. So if you are enjoying them, please like and share the podcast. I think that's probably the best thing that you could do for me and for the pod is to share it with others. So thank you. Appreciate all of you. Bye.
Bye.